Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, we're going to be talking about Quant Network, aka Q&T. And you know what's crazy to me is if I wanted to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, I would get roughly 0.0, I'm just going to round it, but 0.04 Bitcoin for $1,000. Right now, you could buy one singular Quant for roughly around like $100. Think about the moment in time where you are going to be buying fractions of Q&T for $1,000. See, that's the future that I personally am waiting for. That's the future that I see inevitably, coming to this space. In fact, I do say here, I buy Q&T whenever I see a big dip in the market. I know at some point, people will be fortunate enough to even own 0.1 Q&T. And that is the case. Like, obviously, I did make a little bit of a typo there, but it is really the case on, like, we are looking at a future like this. And, at some point in time when Bitcoin was at around, like, 50K, 60K, 70K, and do I believe that Bitcoin will eventually reach $100,000? Yeah, I do believe it will. And at that point, you're going to be getting even less for your money. And the same goes for Q&T. It's going to be to the point where a large portion of these tokens that have, very minimal supply with very large use cases, they're going to almost be too, expensive to actually even buy for retail individuals. Like these tokens, some of these tokens are not made for the retail individual. I say this a lot with Q&T, like the technology behind Q&T, the tokenomics behind, Q&T make it easily, just as valuable, if not even more valuable than Bitcoin. And I mentioned this quite a bit actually on my channel. And I do believe that I actually said that today on Twitter. Actually, I said, yeah, I mean, it was like right here. I said the utility of Q&T and the tokenomics of it make it the perfect token to usurp the #1 spot of crypto. A lot of people think that, at the end of the day, is Q&T going to be that token that takes the #1 spot? And I even said down here, like, few years, it's hard to say. Like, I don't feel comfortable putting a time frame on it. The real deal is this: if Q&T is interconnecting DLTs to real-world applications and systems, that means all the money that flows over public/private ledgers will flow through Quant too. That's huge. And again, like a lot of people look at XRP, they look at Hyperledger Foundation, they look at R3 Corda, they look at these major blockchain, systems, and they're like, oh, dude, you got to buy this. You got to, invest in this because there's this much money flowing over it. That's great and all. And trust me, I have taken, my risk on investing in a lot of those layer ones. I've invested in a lot of, DLTs because I do believe that we are going to march into a DLT-driven world. But at the end of the day, it still needs to be interconnected with the legacy system. And in fact, Quant has mentioned this in the past as well, going back to March of this year. We do see down here, on CBDCs, Gilbert Verdian says, at the start, we need to consider how to integrate our existing financial systems with DLT and blockchain-type payment systems to support the evolution of money. And I do completely agree with this. And I'm sure that we've actually talked about this in the past. And the way to integrate these systems to, each other is having full-on interoperability that could easily connect, plug and play in 3 seconds or so to the real-world systems into the DLT systems. And again, Quant is that. Like overledger is that. 3 lines of code, it's plug and play, and it's nearly instant to be interconnected with the crypto-driven world with the legacy system. This is the true on evolution of money, the 4th industrial revolution, if you will. This is how large crypto truly actually is. Like, crypto is such a massive giant at this current moment in time. Like, I even tweeted out, actually, going back to my Twitter yet again, and I don't mean to, like, bring up a whole bunch of my tweets, but I did say, multi-trillion-dollar institutions and companies are moving heavily into crypto while the global market cap sits around $1 trillion. Think about that for a second, and it truly is that, like, large if you think about it. Like, BlackRock just, announced a partnership with Coinbase. $10 trillion assets under management. That is no joke. That is serious money. And there's over like 20,000 financial institutions between Aladdin and of course, Coinbase's institutional grade project. So that's massive numbers there. and they will all flow into crypto because they do see the future of this entire space. Now, of course, talking more so about financial institutions, talking about, these major, payment firms and things, Deloitte has been, a major player within crypto. We've talked about them in the past, going back to 2018, blockchain and the 5 vectors of progress. And they do mention quite a bit of things here. They talk about IBM, the enterprise Ethereum blockchain. We do see some major technology vendors, including 5 of the world's biggest cloud companies, have introduced blockchain as a service. They just talk about the, adoption cycle here. Even down here, like the number of active blockchain consortia, across industries or consortia across industries has rapidly increased from 28 in 2017 to more than 60. And there is multiple barriers to adoption of blockchain technology. For an example, we do see down here, the number one that they do mention is, like, of course, interoperability. If we do look here, I know that it was here. There's quite a bit in general. But let me read over this real quick. I know that it was so I think it's actually down here. Yeah. A lack of standards and interoperability between various blockchain platforms and solutions is another challenge. Unless blockchain technology can be readily connected to existing enterprise systems, it will be of little utility in large programs and initiatives. Remember what I said about crypto adoption. You do not get it without a player like Quant that is sitting here and truly implementing and doing a major innovation to this space, bringing in legacy interconnecting systems with DLTs. Like, that's huge. Legal and regulatory concerns around data privacy, intellectual property, enforceability of contracts, and choice of jurisdiction are inhibiting the technology's adoption as well. This is where we really kind of look at, like, regulations in general, and we do see down here, like, which limits the feasibility of implementing DLT in general. And this is, like, technical complexity, which, again, Quant has been dumbing down in the past, talking more so about how to, like, interconnect with these systems, really kind of proving the points around them. We do see, like, a few, mechanisms down here. They do mention a few, Hyperledger, Stellar, and even Ripple, the Ethereum as well, like the Ethereum network. Like, a lot of these, are interconnected with, like, a few systems, but, like, not really to, like, major use cases. Like, we need full-on legacy interconnectivity and interoperability, and Quant is solving that. And Deloitte is a massive giant. If we actually go over here, like, this is Deloitte US just in general in our global network. So down here, they mentioned that they have been building on more than 175 years of service. Our network of member firms spans more than 150 countries and territories. Together, Deloitte's more than 330,000 people worldwide make an impact that matters. And yes, they are a major name. They are, ready for crypto adoption as well. And they understand the barriers to, adoption and success for crypto already. And a lot of individuals are realizing this as well. And they bring up projects like Atom or Cosmos. They bring up Chainlink and stuff. Like, a lot of these solutions, first off, like, Atom is already for, like, just blockchain interoperability in general. Chainlink is great, but oracles have been debunked in regards to, like, a major choice for interoperability. And we actually seen that through, of course, the World Economic Forum. Now, talking about the World Economic Forum, we actually go back to April of 2022, yes, just recently. Defining and measuring payment interoperability, a thriving competitive range of digital payment methods, readies countries to better connect to global trade in today's digital age. Excuse me. Yet the very technical standards, laws, and regulations that span countries contribute to many digital payment methods being closed loops, not interoperable with each other. Although there are some well-established metrics for domestic payment interoperability, there is limited literature, why I can't even talk, when it comes to measuring the interoperability among the latest payment system innovations, leveraging the World Economic Forum's extensive community of payment experts. This report provides a forward-looking and inclusive approach to defining and measuring the different types of payment interoperability. And this is where we did see, of course, the major choice of interoperability. Like, for example, down here we do see, like, existing literature on measuring interoperability, World Bank, BIS, Asian as well, even CGAP, Alliance for Financial Inclusion. Like, there was so much in regards to, like, studies on this. They talked about, quite a bit. Like, they even talked about, like, technical interoperability. Down here, like, payment integrators as a solution. Many private companies feature payment integrator concepts that offer customers a one-stop shop interface for multiple payment method acceptance. The main benefits of payment integration companies are, and of course, we do see, like, just streamlining of the saving time and stuff like that. And then they do mention Swift, which is a massive giant. I'm sure that you guys are probably all aware of Swift at this point. And here we have, like, all the different, payment mechanisms. Like, these, like, this is why we need, not only interoperability between, like, crypto and the legacy systems, but even, like, crypto driven, or not crypto, legacy driven interoperability. Like, we need all these payment systems to be fully interoperable for everything to actually move efficiently and frictionless. And there's major issues around this. And in regards to like the actual report on this, they break down like everything around like M bridges. They talk about, M bridges in general for like cross-border transactions, and they do like show the entire, payment mechanism here and scheme. They do talk about like how this lowers fees, simpler operations, etc. But at the end of the day, they did do a full-on update here, and we actually have that over here, which is shaping the future of technology, governance, blockchain, and digital assets. And down here, I don't know if they do mention interoperability. I know that it was somewhere on this worksheet. Let me actually find it real quick for you guys. So here it is on Quant's website. I had to do a quick search on it. I thought that I had it open, but it's all good. And we do see here, to bridge this gap, the World Economic Forum has proposed 3 DLT interoperability categorizations in our white paper, DLT interoperability. What are the options? We look at each of these categories and compare them by focusing on features such as resilience, decentralization, and user experience. We explain why we think that the API gateway categorization is the best approach, and why Quant's overledger is the leading solution in this category. And we actually have this document from World Economic Forum that I grabbed, and we do see like the 3 approaches: cross-authentication, Oracle, and API gateway. They do mention like the pros and cons, of course, of cross-authentication, and I don't know if they do have, I believe that they have, so they have the API gateways. So pros: tried and tested technology, easy to implement. Cons: may not guarantee eventual data consistency and centralizes trust to whoever operates the APIs. Now this entire con here, Quant has actually solved these issues in general, which is pretty significant in general. Like, they actually took apart the centralization aspect and made it fully decentralized, as well as they tried and tested this, and they got it to the point where it could guarantee the eventual data consistency. So they have basically solved interoperability within an API gateway through, of course, their development. They've been working on this for a while. I think that there was a quote from the Telegram, where it goes all the way back to like 1997, where they did officially start working on the API gateway, aka overledger. And they do mention like the API interoperability solution down here. This is basically how it would work. You do see like the API gateway in between, the bank, corporate, carrier, consortium, forwarder, terminal, and shipper. And then down here, I believe that they mentioned oracles, yes, and we do see like the pros, and then we do see the cons there. I'm picking the right approach. They do mention like, which one is the right approach, and we do see API like when 2 non-compatible platforms have to exchange data. The API approach will be the last resort, which may not be able to guarantee eventual data consistency, which they bring up that con yet again. Now I know that a lot of people are going to look at this and say, it doesn't sound like they would be looking at an API gateway in general, but Quant has actually dumbed this down for them, and they've told them, like, listen, like, this is why this is better than Oracle and cross-authentication. Does that mean that it is? Not necessarily, but I would beg to question, like, I would rather listen to what Quant, as a team, is really kind of talking more so about like interoperability, as they have been working with major banks. I think that their partnerships definitely prove this. Remember, like, they have a substantial amount of partnerships around this. And funny enough, like, we even seen like Hyperledger themselves, which is working with major banks. And if you guys do want to go to like the About section on their website, I think that I have done it already on a Quant video just recently, where we do see like major players in regards to even Swift as well. And we do see like universal DLT interoperability is now a practical reality. And we do see down here like anyone who's involved in the implementation of DLT-based solutions will need no introduction to the problem of interoperability. And they say down here, they actually relay what I just told you guys about the World Economic Forum. Of the various approaches taken, the World Economic Forum identified 3 main categories, and they do say it, which of course begs the obvious question, like, which is the best path to follow in the search for a true universal interoperability? To answer this question, we will firstly introduce each approach and follow with comparisons between them, and they do mention all 3. And we do see down here like one way determines the best interoperability path to follow in the search for true universal interoperability is to look at how each approach scores in terms of key functionality or functional criteria that defines a robust, flexible, and scalable solution. These criteria are proven technology, and we do see like them mention like LAC chain. They mentioned like the entire breakdown of what Quant and Overledger has done with DLTs, DLNs through their API gateway. You know, basically proving the fact that, like, listen, at the end of the day, like, they have absolutely killed it. We do see up here, like, decentralization method is pointed out by the World Economic Forum. The 3 different models have different decentralization properties. DLT relayers, for example, can be fully decentralized if a permissionless DLN is used. Oracles, however, you know, have 2 different levels of permissions. And they do mention that entire breakdown. And yeah, I mean, like, if you actually look at the entire breakdown behind the API gateway, you're more so utilizing DLNs and DLTs. So you're actually not getting any of the centralization aspect of an API gateway. They've solved it through the implementation of DLTs and DLNs that will easily integrate and run over Overledger. And I mean, this is basically from Hyperledger themselves, basically saying like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, when you look at API gateways compared to oracles, compared to, you know, even relayers and things like that, you know, Quant has, you know, tried and tested, you know, backed research, backed utility cases around this, even with like LAC chain. I'm sure that they could probably bring up, you know, Oracle as well, if you will. And, you know, when we really kind of look at that, like, that's a huge step in the space for, you know, a major cloud partner of them. But when we really kind of look at like the end game goal here, it's choosing something that is not only tried and tested, it has proven its point in regards to like, hey, listen, we could interconnect with the legacy systems in 3 lines of code. It's easily implementable, sorry, and it doesn't, you know, need the idea of like, all right, you have to sit down, you have to learn this coding language, you have to sit here and like learn the entire system, how everything works. Like, no, it's very easy to implement, it's quick, it's fast, and it's tried and tested. So with that in mind, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.